Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. Well, it was unanimous. I asked y'all if you wanted me to show y'all how the process of going through how I freeze my potatoes. And yes, so many of y'all said, yes, Miss Lori, please. And it's just another way of preserving your potato harvest. For several years, I have pressure canned my potatoes just to keep them pantry stable for several years. That way you don't have any go bad or anything else. Some people don't have places to keep their potatoes once they harvest them. And it is a wonderful way to preserve your potatoes. And I would especially do it when hard times hit and you need to preserve, the potatoes to make sure that none of them go bad before you get them eat. But them times ain't here right now. But times are here that groceries are very expensive. And Danny had a really good potato harvest. And he has for the last several years. So he has really figured out how to get them potatoes to grow. And we have different videos of him planting and harvesting his potatoes. He plants anywhere from red Pontiacs to Yukon Goes to russets. And he's always had good harvest past several years. And we used to put pretty much all of our potatoes for the wintertime under the house, because under the house stays fairly, even in wintertime, it doesn't get so cold down there it's going to freeze the potatoes, because we heat with a wood stove, a wood cook stove, and all that heats the floor, and of course it keeps that under the house pretty warm. So it's dark and fairly dry under there. It does have some moisture under there, but it still didn't keep all of our potatoes good, because they would start the eyes, and then they'd start just going everywhere. So that was not always the best idea. Now, Danny's dad always talked about how they used to just dig a hole and put them potatoes in there and layer them, with just different things, anywhere from straw to whatever it took, and then cover them back up. And when they needed potatoes, they just go out there and dig up some potatoes. And that's how people used to do it all the time, that didn't have cellars and stuff like that. But, as time goes on and we all get freezers, and I have discovered the last couple of years, now I've always froze potatoes. The canning adventure of canning potatoes is just something that I've done the past probably 6 or 7 years. And even though it's a good way to preserve potatoes, and I'll say that 100 times, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I don't care for the taste, even whether if I do it in water, whether if I do it in chicken broth, or if I just dry can them. I don't care for it. Now, there's a lot of people that do. So I'm not trying to turn you against canning potatoes, because y'all have seen in the past that I do can them. But this year, with Danny's beautiful harvest of potatoes, I'm going to be freezing them. And I'm going to be making french fries I'm going to be freezing some for just fried potatoes. And I'm going to be doing hash browns. And I'm even going to boil up enough potatoes to put some mashed potatoes in the freezer. Now, you know, with me being retired, I really don't need any of this for convenience because I am home more. But it's just preserving the potatoes to keep any of them from going bad before the winter's over with. Now, the potatoes that I don't freeze and put up, of course, we're going to use those. We'll get them used up pretty quick before they ever go bad this winter. But to make sure that I don't have any, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make french fries, fried potatoes, hash browns, and mashed potatoes. And I'll have them in the freezer ready to go. And it's just another way of preserving Danny's harvest. So he's going to help me a little bit to get this going, and I'm going to show you the process. It's easy peasy. It does take a little time, but it's always well worth it. And if you're putting stuff up for the winter, you know, whether it takes time or not, it's just part of it. It's part of homesteading, it's part of homemaking, it's part of taking care of your family. So it's just what we do, ain't it? So let's get started, and I'll show you something that we use to cut up our potatoes, and just different ways that we do it. But when it's all said and done and out of the wash, it is something that I've done for many years, which is make my own french fries and freeze them. I done it back when the kids were young. I'd cut them up by hand, and we always had homemade fries. It saved us money. We were on a very tight budget, so there wasn't going out and buying Ore-Ida frozen french fries. So anyways, I'm glad you're all here. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Miss Lori, and you are at Whippoorwill Holler, where you're going to learn a lot about cooking, homesteading, and just life in general. So stay with us, and let's get started on freezing potatoes.
My mother would have had one of these when I was growing up. Would have made life a little easier, wouldn't it? But it's all part of it. The bigger one, the bigger potatoes, of course, make the bigger, longer fries. And put it in there and get it started. Make sure it's straight. Push her down. There's your fry. It's like that right there. Pretty easy. And then if you had big potatoes and you was wanting to make fried potatoes like we're fixing to make out of the smaller potatoes, then you just cut them in half. So we're putting these over here in water, cold water, getting some of that starch out of them.
Now we peeled these potatoes yesterday, and I peeled them and left them whole, and then I covered them with water, and I put them in the bottom of my refrigerator. So they have been sitting in the refrigerator all night and most of today, and that helps get the starch out. And then when you do this, it helps too.
So if you're going to make fried potatoes, the smaller ones, you can actually turn them. You don't have to lay them down flat. You can. But the smaller ones, you can set them up too, just to make smaller fries. So, or you can lay them down flat ways, like this right here, and run them through to make fried potatoes.
And that makes just the right size for fried potatoes. So that's the difference. I'll show you. That's the difference in potatoes. This will be for fried, and this will be for french fries.
Lay them sideways and let them go. That one there could be cut in half, but I think it'll work.
So having one of these, this is a commercial french fry cutter, and it makes all the world of difference. It's like, you know, restaurants that make homemade french fries, they use something like this, and it just makes, if you've got pounds and pounds, I should have probably weighed all these, see how many pounds I've done. I was thinking it was about 10 pounds, but I don't know.
I don't know either for sure.
10 pounds.
I'd say probably 10 pounds.
So anyways, if you don't have one of these or anything to help you out, just cut them by hand. Like I said, I've done that just like that for years too, because that's all I had was my hands and a knife. So you do what you got to do with what you got. So now the process that we're going to go through is blanching our potatoes, and that's going to help keep your potatoes from turning black in the freezer.
Make them keep.
And it depends on what size potatoes that you got for how long you want to blanch them. This size for this French fry, you want to blanch about 5 minutes. You don't want to blanch them till they're mush, you know, to make mashed potatoes. You just want to blanch them. Just don't boil them to death. Just barely blanch them for about 3 to 5 minutes. These right here could probably go 3 minutes. These right here, about 5 minutes. If you're freezing potatoes for scallop potatoes, which is your round, but you know, you cut them round, or if you got little new potatoes that you're wanting to freeze, you need to blanch them for about 10 minutes, because what it is you want that heat to get all the way to the middle of that potato. That's your main goal. You're not really wanting to cook them, just blanch them, and that'll keep them enzymes from working on your potatoes and turn them black.
Oh no, I'm thinking I kind of want to cook some.
I was fixing to say, it makes you want to fry some potatoes up. So anyways,
potatoes.
We're going to get started on the process of blanching our potatoes. Okay, this is what the French fries look like. And that's the fried potatoes. And you want to keep them fairly covered with water while you're working with them. Okay, over here I've got my pot, and I've got my water going. I've got me a thing here, and I'm fixing to get me a strainer, because that's what I'm going to throw my blanched potatoes in. Okay, one thing that you need to have ready over here in your sink is a big bowl with ice water in it. Because once you get done blanching them and take them out and drain the water off, you're going to want to throw them into an ice bath to stop that cooking process. Blanching your potatoes, like I said, you don't want to bring it up to a full boil. But this is my potatoes for frying. And I'm going to just place a couple of big spoonfuls like that. And I'm going to let it blanch. I'm going to let them blanch anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, these are my my potatoes to fry. And I blanched them for about 3 to 4 minutes. And I'm going to take these out and put them in my strainer. And I'm going to have Mr. Brown take them over there to the sink. And he's going to throw them in the ice water to start the cooking process. And he'll leave them in there for just a few minutes. And then he'll bring them over here and he'll spread them out on a cookie sheet and let them dry. Let them drain a little bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to be putting more potatoes in here. Now this is the reason I decided not to do the hash browns and everything in one video, because it does take a little while when you're blanching. Okay, Mr. Brown, that's yours. So we're going to put some more in here. And let them blanch 3 to 4 minutes. Now if it was our French fries, I'd be going about 5 minutes. So let's turn our rabbit timer here. We'll turn it on. I got it for 4 minutes. Okay, what we're going to do is...
rinse it first a little bit in cold water, just kind of.
But we got to go ahead and get it jabbed in here to this ice water.
And we didn't have any cold water.
Put some more water in there. It's easier to stick your potatoes in there in the strainer than it is to throw it in the bowl, because then you're having to dish all your taters out. So just leave it in the strainer and work it around.
Yeah, because your water get hot, and you need to let the cold water back in there and on side to side.
So just let them cool off just a couple minutes like this before you put them out on your board to let them cool. And if you put, sometimes it helps too to keep them from getting black in your freezer if you put a couple of tablespoons of vinegar in your ice water. Okay, we have blanched our potatoes. We have threw them in the ice water and we drained them, dried them a little bit, get some of that liquid or water off of them. And now this is how I'm putting them in the freezer to flash freeze them. And I've got several layers here because I can't have 20 different cookie sheets in the freezer. I don't have room because I don't have 20 cookie sheets. But I'm just layering them just like this.
Trying to keep them separated best you can.
Yes.
So they don't stick together.
So you don't want to put them on top of each other. You want to kind of spread them out the best you can. Because if you put on top of each other when you flash freeze it, you're going to have one big clump of potatoes.
So the reason you see yellow and whiter looking potatoes, russet and Yukon Gold, are mixed.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, they really look pretty, don't they? So
they do.
They look good.
We didn't have, I don't know that we really had any bad potatoes. I may have had to cut a few little spots off of one or so, but nothing really bad.
No, they've been good. Still got several potatoes, don't we?
Yes. I'm going to let these stay in the freezer overnight. And then we'll come back and finish this off. And get them put in the freezer. Get them bagged up and put in the freezer. I mean, it's a pretty simple process. It just, you know, takes a little time, but
you gotta have patience, don't you?
Gotta have patience, and
but boy, they're gonna be easy and good to get a hold of.
They're gonna be so good. So
out of the freezer and in the frying pan.
Now I know somebody's gonna ask me, and I want to tell y'all too. Another way you can do this too, without blanching them, is you can go ahead and pre-cook them, which means if you want your little potatoes roasted up, you can go ahead and season them, roast them up, and then cool them down all the way, and then flash freeze them. Put them in your bag, take out what you need, and heat them up in the oven. You can go ahead and fry your French fries. You don't want to fry them completely too dark, but you can fry them till they're just about done. And then take them out, cool them completely down, flash freeze them on a cookie sheet, and bag them up. That's not the way that I choose to do it, but you can do it that way. And that way you don't have to blanch them, and your potatoes aren't going to turn black by pre-cooking them. But that's just your choice. This is just the way I choose to do it. And you have to remember this too. Just like when you go buy a bag of frozen French fries in the supermarket, you don't thaw them out before you cook them. So you don't thaw these out either. You'll be cooking these frozen. Because if you thaw these out before cooking, you're just going to have a mushy mess.
You're going to have mashed potatoes.
Yeah. So just like the the squash that y'all see me put up in the freezer for frying. And I tell y'all, please do not thaw it out before cooking it, before frying it up, because it just don't work. And that's the way you're going to do the potatoes too. So, I've already got the potatoes that we had cut up for frying. I already got them on sheet pans and in my deep freeze. I've got a deep freeze, upright freezer out in my outside building, and that's where I'm going to be taking these. And I'm just going to let them stay in there and get frozen all the way through, all night long, until we can get to them and get them bagged up. So y'all stay with us, because that'll be our next thing we do, is get these bagged up. You know, and see how we do it, and then we'll get them in the freezer. Okay, here is some of our fries. Now I've done put some of them up. I really need to get them put up because they're starting to thaw. And remember me telling y'all, do not let your French fries thaw at all before you start cooking them. So it's kind of a fast process that you gotta get done. Now I'm gonna tell y'all seen me layering these on, it was unbleached wax paper is what it was. And I would put wax paper down, put a layer, then put another wax paper down, put a layer. But what I forgot to do was to spray my wax paper a little bit with either olive oil or some kind of oil. Now that's not going to hurt your French fries, but it's going to keep them from sticking to that paper. But you just want to do them in single layers, and I showed y'all that. But I made the mistake, and some of my fries stuck to my wax paper, which is okay, because I got most of them done. So now we have got to get these in my sealed bags. Okay, I put just enough potatoes, French fries in here for me and Danny. And I apologize for that. This thing is very loud, and of course I had my mic right here, and I apologize for that. But this is a very good vacuum sealer. You can see how good that is, and that there should be no problems with them getting freezer burnt. But it's sealed up, and on each one I put either French fries or the ones that I cut up for fried potatoes. I put fried potatoes. Now, if you don't have one of these, it's not that big a deal. It's really not. It's just kind of helps to keep, you know, from any product getting freezer burnt. But you can put them in a freezer bag. And like I said, work fast with it. Don't let them thaw out, because what's going to happen is they're going to stick together once they freeze back together. So take just a little bit out of a time of your freezer. Don't take them all out, or have somebody helping you to get it done pretty quick. Of course, if they do stick together, you can just kind of bang that bag on the side of the counter. Most of the time it'll break them apart. So that was my last vacuum seal bag. So my very last fries I'm going to have to put right here. I'm just going to make sure that I get most of the air out. And I'll be using this bag first. But really and truly, I probably won't get into these bags till this winter time. I'll try to use as many as my potatoes when I'm needing potatoes, just fresh potatoes, before I start getting into stuff that I've got frozen. So you can see either way, just regular freezer bag or your vacuum seal. It's going to work either way. These will just last longer in your freezer. Okay, right there. Here's my fries, my potatoes for frying, all put up and ready for this winter when I'm needing some good old potatoes, good old French fries. See, there's some of my squash that I put up, my corn. Freezer's pretty much full. Okay, I'm going to cook a handful of these frozen. Now remember, I'm telling y'all, do not thaw these french fries out. Cook them in about 350 Fahrenheit. And they will pop because they're good and frozen. Just be careful putting them in there. But I'm just going to cook a little bit to show y'all. Y'all know how frozen fries do because they've got a little bit of wetness on them from being in the freezer. But just make sure that your grease is at least 350. You can probably, somebody probably asked me if you can bake these in the oven. Just cover them a little bit with some oil and put them in a about 375, 400 degree oven. I'm not sure how long it will take because I don't think I've ever cooked, made oven fries out of my fresh frozen fries before. Now it will take just a little bit. To fry those up. Just make sure that your oil's not smoking hot, but about 350, somewhere in there, 345, 350. Because if you don't, then fresh fries are going to soak up all that grease before they get good and crispy. I probably cooked these up a little bit too brown for y'all, but this is the way Mr. Brown likes them. He likes them crunchy and brown. I'm going to put just a little bit of salt on here. We even like to put a little pepper on our fries. And these are hot. But they're good and crunchy. Like I said, these may be browner than what y'all like them. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're crunchy. Where we like them. So they're not soggy, y'all. So freeze you some fries. Really does work. Okay, before we end this video, and I have to let you know that tonight's the night that Mr. Brown has his fishing tournament, so he didn't get to finish this video with me, but that's okay. He'll be here next time. I want to show y'all. We did go to, whoops, my glasses. We did go to, Danny likes to go with me sometimes and just walk through antique shops, and because he really likes looking at these old antiques, and he'll really look at them close and see if they've been, you know, redone, or if it's really, you know, all the old parts still to it or whatever. But if he finds something, it's usually pretty neat. And he found this, and it was in the box just like this. Now there's no kind of writing on this box. I'm gonna open this box. I'm gonna get it out. Except it says made in Germany. That's all it says. And it says it right down there, made in Germany. And it's just a box. It looks like this. Okay. Okay. And this was what's inside. And when he showed it to me, I thought, oh, how cute. What's in there? Well, he opened it up, and 2 pair of scissors. The inside is leather. Now, I'm showing y'all this because I want to show y'all how he finds some really neat stuff, but also because y'all might know something about this. The scissors say Singer on each one of them. Each one is S-I-N-G-E-R, like the Singer sewing machine. And they're brand new, like they've never hardly ever been used. So you got that one. Then you got this little one that says Singer on it too. So now I really think this is neat too. He gave $15 for this. Like I said, the inside is all leather and it's in really good condition. Now we're wondering maybe what was in here. what with this kit is missing. And then it's got down here where you can still hold other things in here. Maybe thread or needle or, you know, just different things in here. But it's like brand new. But I know it's vintage. I just don't know how vintage. And like I said, both of the scissors say Singer on it. So, and it's made in Germany. So if any of y'all know anything about that or can find out, y'all are so good about doing that too. Y'all just really know how to do it. Let us know, because he's really proud of this find, and I am too. Now I find a couple of things, but there just wasn't much that I guess that I think it gets to the point you're just, you know, pretty particular or something. I don't know. But I seen this picture in one of the shops. I love the frame. It's just a plastic frame. It's not wood. It is an older one. I don't know how old. But I do love the picture in it of the Victorian lady. You know, she's just sitting there and she's reading and or studying. But I'm going to put this, I made me a corner in my sunroom, which I done last winter, for this winter, where I can go in there, I can turn my little fireplace on if it's cold in there. Generally it's just right for me, and I can sit in there and read and do things, sew maybe, and not bother Mr. Brown. But I just love this picture. So that's going in my sunroom, and I'll show you my little cozy corner here in just a minute. And there was just one other thing, and it was this. This is a pie plate, pie dish, and it is pottery. In fact, the bottom of it says Indiana pottery. So if anybody knows anything about Indiana pottery, that's where this come from. But I loved the design, I love the color, and I love how deep it is. I can do a deep dish pie in this. So I just really loved it. So I did come home with this and the picture, and that was it. So anyways, I always like coming to y'all, and I think y'all like it too. I like showing y'all some of our little finds that if we're out and about and decide just to walk through a flea market or a vintage store, an antique store, something like that. So I hope this video helped y'all. Kind of give you some ideas about freezing and preserving your potatoes. Like I said, make note to make sure you spray. If you have to layer your potatoes, I'm sweating y'all. If you have to layer your potatoes like I did, I used wax paper instead of my parchment paper because I didn't want to use my parchment paper up. But I forgot to spray it with just a little bit of spray. I think it would have helped. Now, when you get them out and they're stacked like that, what I did is I bring them out and kind of beat them on the table a little bit, break up the bottom. Then I go through there and just kind of break them up. And then I just start going layer by layer. It is a little work, but it's going to be worth it, I guarantee you. So I hope this video helps. And probably not the next video, because I'm wanting to do, I've got to make my strawberry layered cake. So that's probably going to be next. It's an old-fashioned layered strawberry cake is what it's called. And there's so many different old-fashioned layered cakes out there that you do with apple butter and dried apples and just stuff like that. This is a layered strawberry cake. It's going to be good, y'all. So you may want to come back and watch that one for the recipe. But then next week I'm going to come back and we're going to finish up our 2-day series of freezing potatoes, because then I'm going to do hash browns and I'm going to do mashed potatoes. So I'm going to end this video telling y'all how much I love y'all. And I want to thank everybody that sent me get well cards, thanking of you cards, emails, comments, messages, checking on Miss Lori. And all y'all that have went through trying to pass a kidney stone know how painful it is. But I can tell you right now, I'm pretty sure that I did pass it. If I didn't, it's just kind of hanging out there somewhere. But right now, I don't seem to have any issues, no pain, no pressure. And as I think back on it, that week we went to the lake, I was having a lot of pressure. And this is more information than y'all probably want, but in case y'all are going through the same thing, I just felt like I had to go to the bathroom constantly, but then wasn't much happening. And I think that's when it was happening, and it just progressed. Now, when I went to the lake that week, it was in the 90s, up in the hundreds during the day, and we stayed at the lake pretty much all day in the heat. And I remember coming home, and my bottom lip swelled up, and I thought, I got too hot. I may have dehydrated. And when I talked to my main doctor, he said, Lori, he said, I'm pretty sure you got dehydrated. He said, that's probably, plus you having these issues, you got dehydrated. And he said it just escalated from them because, that, excuse me, that Saturday is when I ended up in the ER not knowing what was going on. But anyways, I am better, and I appreciate everybody worrying about me, praying for me, and sending me so many cards. I just love y'all to death. And anyways, next video, unless something happens between now and then, we're going to be doing strawberry layered cake. So I hope y'all come back. Mr. Brown will probably be around then. Maybe he'll help me make that cake. So y'all have a blessed week. Be safe. And always know how much God loves you and how much we love you. So we'll see y'all in a few days. Bye-bye.